Good morning and welcome to today's reflection. It's Spring Bank holiday and I can remember a time when Whitsuntide and Spring Bank holiday fell on the same day. Or am I imagining it? Perhaps you can remember as well. I'm sure there are some serious historical facts which happened on this day in the past. But apparently it's National Hamburger Day, and more importantly, on this day in 1884, Dr. John Harvey Kellogg patented the flaked cereal, and his family have never looked back. Anyway, today I'd like to talk to you about personal communication and how important it is. And I'd like to say what an excellent communicator I am, and the reason I can say that is because my wife's not listening. The truth is nearer that I must have a PhD in failing to listen and communicating clearly. But yesterday in MC, we Methodist people have launched the Try Praying initiative together with our friends at St Mary's, albeit a few weeks behind many of our local churches across the Dales, including Nidderdale, Massam and Harrogate. You may have already seen some of the large turquoise banners strewn across church buildings and railings, including at St Andrew's and Holy Trinity at the top of the High Street in Skipton. In addition to the banner, a key part of the initiative is this little booklet called Try Praying, aptly, and you may already be familiar with it. It's aimed at everyone who feels inclined to read it for 7 days, but it is especially aimed at those people who may not go to church, may be agnostic or of an atheist persuasion. David Hill was one such person who described himself as like many other self-respecting agnostics, and when he was studying maths at university, ended up found himself praying, even though he didn't know whether God was there, and asked God to make himself real to him, and used words something like, "Please let me know for definite, don't mess me around." And he didn't nothing happened for a fortnight, but then he prayed again and took the decision to actually believe that God was real. And it was then that he received God's assurance that indeed he was there, experiencing a quiet but undeniable assurance that Jesus was alive and that his spirit had come into his life, into David's life. And nowadays David is one of the key people behind the success of the little booklet and the Try Praying initiative. Apparently this is run in Edinburgh for several years, along with lots of other towns and cities. But the issue of communication is critical to the whole initiative. We who are in the faith are encouraged to carry a booklet so that once we've read it, we can pass it on to others and recommend it to our friends and relatives, perhaps, and anyone else who might like to read it. The booklets are freely available from plastic containers tied to the front of our churches, close to the banner. But what will make the biggest impact on someone who might be seeking or searching? Is it by being stopped in the street, by someone who's completely unknown, being handed a booklet, perhaps, or being recommended to it by a friend who knows you well? My own real journey of faith started when an old school friend wrote to me explaining how he had come to faith and recommended that I look into it seriously, which is what happened. So it's a challenge to communicate, to find the right words sensitively and tactfully as we go about our daily business. So personal communication then is so important if the initiative with this little book is to be really effective. And believe me, it's much easier to write about it than to do it, as you can appreciate. So maybe we need to pray for courage to step out in faith, and who knows what might happen. A short prayer. Loving God, give us the wisdom to know when to speak of you and the courage to open our mouths. Give us the words and sensitivity to plant seeds of your truth and to be natural as we do it, and then to trust and to leave the rest to you.